So President Trump reportedly says that the situation in Iran is, quote, in flux, as the United States has sent what the president called a big armada to the region. He tells
in the Indian Ocean, and we'll play it on the screen there, an American submarine sunk an Iranian warship that thought it was safe in international waters.
They shot down 3 land attack cruise missiles and several drones that were launched by Houthi forces in Yemen.
3:17, Gulf of Oman. Right now, a British carrier strike group is gliding through black water that looks like spilled oil. Deck lights are dim. Radios are quiet. And 1,500 people aboard HMS Queen Elizabeth have no idea what's already inside their perimeter. 2 wakes are about to be born in silence. The clock is ticking. You're on the starboard catwalk, feeling the ship's heat bleed into the night air. The sea smells metallic, like stormwater and fuel. Somewhere above you, an F-35B sits chained down, its edges swallowed by darkness. The carrier itself is a moving city, 70,000 tons of steel, momentum, and national intent. And like every city at night, it believes it's safe because it's busy. But safety at sea is never a wall. It's a hunt. Out here, a carrier doesn't survive by being tough. It survives by being surrounded, by pickets, sensors, discipline, and distance. Because the brutal truth is this, the Queen Elizabeth-class carrier's organic last-ditch hard-kill defense is primarily phalanx CIWS, excellent as a final razor, but not a shield you'd ever want to test alone. It's designed to be protected by escorts and the wider force, not to stand naked in the storm. Source: tonight, she isn't naked. She's escorted. A Type 45 destroyer rides the outer ring, its job simple in wording and impossible in reality. See first, shoot first, keep the sky clean. Sea Viper, Samson radar and Aster missiles, has already proven it can engage fast, maneuvering threats. Royal Navy reporting describes Sea Viper firing that destroyed a supersonic target, with a missile accelerating past Mach 4 within seconds. Source: a frigate sits a little closer, an acoustic shepherd listening for the ocean's whispers. And somewhere you'll never see, because you're not supposed to, a nuclear-powered hunter-killer submarine shadows the group like a myth with a reactor. That submarine is the difference between a scare and a funeral. Now shift perspective, far to the northeast, in Iranian coastal waters, where politics compress time. In Tehran, the pressure isn't tactical. It's reputational. A week of public humiliation. A promise demanded on state TV. A senior commander cornered by the kind of deadlines that don't exist on battle maps. So the plan becomes a performance. One clean, cinematic strike. Not a war. Not an invasion. A message. They choose a platform that feels poetic. An indigenous boat, small enough to hide, armed enough to sting. A Faith-class submarine, roughly 48 meters long, around 600 tons submerged, diesel-electric, capable of operating down to about 200 meters with a reported endurance of 35 days, and most importantly, 4 533mm torpedo tubes. Source: in this scenario, someone in that room calls it the $58 million dagger. Whether that number is accurate doesn't matter to them. What matters is symbolism, cheap versus priceless. One submarine versus a floating airfield. And they make the same strategic bet that has seduced desperate planners for a century. If we can get close enough, physics will do the rest. Here's their script. Step 1. Distraction. Flood the carrier's escort screen with noise, small drones, decoy emitters, a couple of opportunistic anti-ship missiles launched from shore batteries just to force radars to radiate, force the sky to light up, force attention upward. Step 2. Slip in beneath it all, beneath radar, beneath politics, beneath pride. Step 3. Launch 2 heavyweight torpedoes from inside a pocket of cluttered shipping lanes, because the ocean is loud there, and every merchant's crew is camouflage. They're not trying to sink the carrier outright. They're trying to cripple it. Knock the rudder. Crack a shaft. Punch a hole big enough that the world sees the smoke. They believe the carrier is the prey. But they overlooked something. The flaw in their thinking isn't courage. It isn't engineering. It's arrogance about information. A carrier strike group isn't a ship. It's a network, air, surface, subsurface, electromagnetic, human. It doesn't look for threats in one direction. It breathes in the entire environment, constantly, and it doesn't need a perfect picture. It only needs a hint. And tonight, the hint arrives as an absence. 3:19. On the Type 23's operations room display, a sonar operator watches a line that shouldn't be there. A gap in background noise, a tiny clean corridor where the ocean abruptly goes quiet, like a predator holding its breath. He doesn't shout. He doesn't dramatize. He does what professionals do. He marks it. Could you make that call? With people sleeping, jets parked, and the whole world assuming nothing is happening. Could you look at a faint anomaly and say, that's real? The contact gets a temporary label. Then a second sensor cross-references it. Then a third. The group's unseen guardian, the Astute-class submarine, tightens the noose. Astute boats are built for this exact moment, to be the thing that hears first and strikes first. Royal Navy material describes their combat system integration and, crucially, Sonar 2076, an integrated passive-active suite with hull and towed arrays built to dominate the underwater picture. Source: 321. The command net stays calm, but the tempo changes. Merlin helicopters spin up on the deck, rotors chopping the night into pieces. Dipping sonar gear is prepped. Sonobuoys are staged. The frigate adjusts course, subtle, almost lazy, like nothing is wrong. Because in ASW, the first person to look panicked is the first person who dies. You're there now, standing in a passageway as the ship's routine shifts without announcement. People walk faster, but nobody runs. Hatches dog shut. A quiet voice repeats a phrase that makes every sailor's stomach tighten. Action stations, submarine threat. And then, 3:23, the ocean speaks. 2 torpedoes launch. No fireball. No Hollywood roar. Just compressed gas, a mechanical exhale, and then the water starts moving with purpose. 2 weapons, low and fast, threading through darkness toward the carrier's projected track. This is the moment Iran's command staff imagined. The moment the world would clip and replay. But the hunt has already reversed. 3:24. A Merlin HM-2 lifts off, skimming low, the helicopter's downwash tearing white scars into the sea. It drops its dipping sonar, and suddenly the underwater world becomes geometry, ranges, bearings, probabilities. On the Type 45, Sampson stays busy with the aerial distraction. Sea Viper doctrine isn't about one glorious intercept, it's about sustained control of airspace. UK government reporting notes Sea Viper can track, target, and destroy threats over 70 miles away, and describes upgrades aimed at evolving threats, including ballistic profiles. Source: so the sky fight happens almost as background violence. Small targets are engaged, decoys are sorted, and the destroyer's combat system does what it was built to do, refuse saturation. But subsurface? That's close range, intimate, primal. 3:25. The frigate fires off a pattern of countermeasures, noisy, deceptive, designed to give torpedoes something else to love. The carrier itself begins a slow, deliberate turn, not sharp enough to scream evasion, but enough to spoil a solution. Remember, a torpedo attack isn't one event. It's a chain of decisions. Break the chain, and the weapon becomes a very expensive swimmer. 3:26. First torpedo acquires, and then loses. It chases a decoy, corrected too late, its logic dragged. Away like a dog yanked by a leash. Second torpedo holds longer. It's smarter, or luckier. It pushes through the acoustic clutter, angling for the carrier's wake. 4 seconds. That's all the escort commander has to decide whether to risk a helicopter low, in the dark, over a suspected submarine threat, to get a weapon into the water. Could you authorize that? Knowing a single mistake could trade a helicopter crew for nothing? He does. 3:27. A Merlin releases a lightweight torpedo into the sea. A clean splash, then nothing visible, because the violence is now entirely underwater. The sound arrives later as a dull, chesty thump you feel through the ship's structure more than you hear. The second Iranian torpedo detonates, not on the carrier, but short of it, disrupted, broken in its run, the kill chain snapped. 2 launched, 0 hits. And now the enemy platform is no longer a rumor. It's a hunted thing. 3:28. The Astute-class submarine shifts from shadow to executioner. Royal Navy information describes Astute's spiffish heavyweight torpedo, nearly 2 tons, able to engage targets up to 14 miles away, extending to around 30 miles at low speed, delivering a 660 pounds explosive charge with impact or proximity effects. Source: you don't see the launch. No one topside sees anything. But somewhere deep, a tube floods, a door opens, and a weapon leaves the boat like a verdict. The Iranian Fatih tries to disappear. Diesel-electric submarines live on silence. But silence isn't invisibility, and every maneuver leaves a signature. Cavitation, transient noise, a disturbance in the ocean's pattern. This is what they got wrong. They assumed the carrier was the center of the fight. In reality, the carrier is the bait, and the teeth are everywhere else. 3:31. Spiffish closes. Fast. Controlled. Relentless. The Fatih deploys countermeasures. It turns. It changes depth. It tries to drag the engagement into shallow water where geometry becomes messy and probabilities become politics. It doesn't matter. 3:33. Underwater detonation. No flame. No cinematic plume. Just a concussion that turns seawater into a hammer. The Fatih is not obliterated in a neat way. It is structurally ruined, systems cascading into failure, compartments becoming traps. A submarine doesn't need to be torn in half to be dead. It just needs to stop being a submarine. And at that exact moment, 3:33, the tactical fight ends, and the strategic fight begins. Because once torpedoes are launched at a carrier, the response is no longer a local decision. It's a national one. 3:36. Authorization moves through the chain with cold speed. Not shouted. Not emotional. Just irreversible. The doctrine is simple. You don't let someone practice killing a carrier. So the counterattack is built for one purpose: capability denial. Not punishment. Not revenge. Denial. From the carrier, F-35Bs launch into the night, not as lone heroes, but as nodes in a larger pattern, pushing outward to sanitize airspace and hunt surface coordinators. From the sea, the submerged Guardian prepares a second message, one that doesn't need a camera. Royal Navy material notes Astute-class submarines can carry Tomahawk land attack missiles with immense range, well in excess of 1,000 miles, and the ability to be redirected mid-flight, even sending back imagery. Source. So in this scenario, the strike package isn't aimed at cities. It's aimed at systems, radar sites supporting coastal targeting, known missile logistics nodes, command and control facilities tied to the maritime picture, targets chosen to remove the ability to repeat the attempt. Because that's how modern escalation works, you don't just stop the arrow. You break the bow. 402. Cruise missiles arrive low, fast, precise, coordinated with airborne electronic attack, coordinated with naval gunfire feints, coordinated with the kind of multi-domain choreography that makes an adversary feel blind inside their own territory. Now from the enemy's view, screens go dark in patches. Radios overload. Orders collide. Units move without understanding why. They wanted a showcase. Instead, they get a lesson. And it's delivered in less time than your lunch break. By 4:20, 47 minutes after the first torpedoes left their tubes, the ocean has returned to its oldest truth. Those who reveal themselves first are usually the ones who don't come home. Here's the timeline tally, because numbers are the cleanest way to expose a miscalculation. Minute 6, 2 torpedoes detected and engaged, carrier begins evasive maneuvering. Minute 10, first torpedo diverted onto decoys, aerial distraction contained by escorts. Minute 14, second torpedo neutralized short of the carrier. Minute 16, hostile submarine fixed with high confidence. Minute 22, spiffish attack run completed, hostile submarine combat ineffective. Minute 45, follow-on strikes degrade coastal targeting and coordination node. Minute 47, operation ends, the strike group remains fully mission capable. Final reality, 2 torpedoes launched, 0 impacts on the carrier, 1 submarine lost. And the psychological momentum flips so hard it feels like gravity changed direction. You want the most unsettling part? The carrier never even fired its last-ditch gun in anger. The phalanx, built to spit tungsten at incoming threats, remained a silent statue, because the fight was decided in layers far from the hull. That's exactly why relying on escorts and integrated defense is not a preference, but a survival requirement. Source. Afterward, analysts don't talk about bravery. They talk about decision architecture. Iran's political pressure produced a plan designed for optics, not survivability. They bet on a single dramatic moment. They assumed chaos would paralyze a professional force. But professional forces don't freeze under chaos. They compartmentalize it. And the Royal Navy's recent focus on evolving air and missile defense, Sea Viper upgrades, improved warheads and software, long-range engagement capability, exists precisely because modern conflict doesn't offer fair threats anymore. It offers mixed threats, layered threats, and distractions meant to create one opening. Source. So the lesson isn't carriers are invincible. They're not. The lesson is that modern warfare is information dominance wrapped around disciplined crews. The side that fuses sensors faster, decides faster, and coordinates cleaner turns the enemy's best punch into a self-exposing mistake. A predator only wins if the prey panics. Tonight, the prey didn't panic. Which decision was most critical? Marking that first anomaly, launching the Merlin in the dark, or letting the submarine take the shot? Debate below. Hit subscribe for in-depth military breakdowns.